Hello and welcome to this talk on embedding sustainability and what we've learned from creating a compendium of actionable sustainability examples. Paul Astles and I are both Open University learning designers. We've been involved in sustainability work for the past few years with a particular focus on how it can be embedded and designed into learning experiences. Today we'll be sharing what we've learned, helping colleagues to feel confident about sustainability and how they can bring it into their educational practices. In this video presentation, there will be short activities and opportunities for you to reflect on your own practice and experiences if you feel comfortable doing so. When we get to these points, there will be a message on the screen and we will remind you to pause the video and take the time you need to complete the tasks. Let's start today by providing a quick vision of how sustainability connects with higher education. The project work we will be exploring is working towards the goal of integrating education for sustainable development into the open university and higher education environment more generally. One definition of education for sustainable development, as shared by Advanced HE, is education for sustainable development in higher education, equipping learners with the knowledge, competencies and values to tackle interconnected global challenges encompassing economic, social and environmental sustainability. It enables learners to make informed decisions and take both individual and collective actions to transform society and protect the planet. Quality education is considered one of the foundations of sustainability and is an enabler to work towards the 17 Sustainable Development Goals created by the United Nations as part of their 2030 agenda. As educators, we have the ability to empower individuals with knowledge, skills, competencies and values that could positively impact sustainability challenges.
With that in mind, we would like you to take a moment to imagine a world where ESD is thoroughly integrated into course design and university processes. What would that look like for you? Pause the video here and take a couple of minutes to write or draw what you feel your response to that would be. Our ESD integrated world would look something like this. So where sustainability is meaningfully embedded and doesn't feel like an add-on or an optional extra, sustainability and EDI support and lift one another, and sustainability is recognised as an umbrella. Quality training and time to engage with it fully provided to all colleagues, and students are more aware of what sustainability means in the context of their studies and can confidently present this to others. We're still working on creating that world, but the first area of focus for this presentation is sharing the work that the Learning Design Sustainability Group have been doing.
So back in 2022, a small group of learning design colleagues with a shared interest in sustainability came together to create a working group. After our first year of creating resources, learning a lot and working out ways to share what we'd learnt, we came up with 3 principles. These have given us direction ever since, and these principles are focusing on identifying actions that can support change, knowledge building or skills development, create opportunities for student input because their ideas, comments and critiques are invaluable, and recognising that everyone's journey towards taking meaningful non-tokenistic actions to embed sustainability will be different. Our small working group has played a central role in the university's approach to embedding and supporting ESD within module design and development processes. We're proud to say that these principles contributed to our work being highly commended at the 2023 Green Gown Awards. The awarding body who runs the awards recognises, celebrates and showcases exceptional sustainability initiatives from universities, colleges and other post-16 institutions across the UK and Ireland. An ongoing focus for the team has been taking what we've learnt and turning them into resources which could help to save time and effort and help others take what they've learnt into their practice. Throughout this presentation, we will share some more of the resources we've made, but here we've summarised a few examples of resources we've recently created or updated from when the group was established in 2022, because we want to ensure that everything remains as useful as possible. These resources cover quite a broad range of subjects. The one visualised on the slide summarises student views on sustainability in education, comparing data from the OU with surveys undertaken by an organisation called SOS UK, which has surveyed the wider higher education system. We also have resources which support you to identify routes you could explore to progress your sustainability journey, where to look for open educational resources, resources that visualise the UNESCO sustainability competencies, and much more. All of the resources we've created are available via Creative Commons through the Learning Design team's blog site. There are links on the slide to the resources we've mentioned, and we'll also make sure these are included alongside the video information. We regularly share these resources on our external social media profiles, and they're used during our module production process to help teams reflect on their approach to sustainability. As well as creating resources that can be used independently, we also directly support individuals and teams who are creating educational experiences, such as designing modules, to reflect on the sustainability context and build in sustainability values, skills and competencies into their design more directly. One example of this is a series of sustainability skills cards which focus on connecting colleagues with the UNESCO sustainability competencies. These cards are action-focused and provide a structure that supports colleagues to move beyond simply identifying competencies that might exist in a course, to shift their focus to what students will achieve by the end of the learning process. So they can use these cards to create learning outcomes, activities or assessments. The cards also complement other guidance we've created about integrating sustainability into learning outcomes, which we've hyperlinked in the cards. And they also help to bridge the gap between sustainability and existing open university frameworks for employability and digital information literacy. The cards were created using student feedback gathered through the university's Curriculum Design Student Panel, a volunteer student panel which gives input and feedback on design processes and ideas. Students' input highlighted to us the importance of framing and contextualising sustainability to ensure that students see the meaning of the activity, especially in subjects which are perceived as not having natural connections to sustainability concepts. We've written our learnings from the process of creating the cards and the insights from students into a book chapter, which is referenced on the slides.
Here are two examples of how the resources and our support have created change in practice by teams at the Open University. At a qualification level, biomedical and artificial intelligence modules have used the skills cards to help formulate sustainability-focused learning outcomes. When it comes to designing the modules, this means that sustainability is considered from the beginning and can be meaningfully integrated into assessment activities and content. Following work done with S227 and S291, a template has been created for how to communicate and visualize sustainability connections in the module guides, and this has removed barriers for other modules who may be interested in sustainability but due to other priorities during the process of creating their learning materials may find it difficult to prioritize how to visualize this in their own module guides. A final example from the broader learning design work on sustainability has been the creation of digital badges which relate to the UNESCO sustainability competencies. A digital badge within regular OU study can be thought of as something that a student can use to quantify the skills or knowledge that they gain outside of their assessment. It can help them to reflect on their development and showcase this to potential employers, for example. They can help to contextualize how something abstract like sustainability competencies have actually been experienced within a student's own learning. And this can be both a moment of recognition but also a mechanism for helping the student to take their studies forward. Badging and therefore supporting this process of celebration and contextual application of sustainability in learning has been taken into a few different modules. So for example, T330 has a sustainability literacy badge, and the new and upcoming computing apprenticeship modules at level 1 and 2 are also incorporating sustainability badging for their apprentice students to help showcase how they're taking sustainability into their employment and providing a scaffolding for what that really means in their context.
All of the work we've been doing has raised questions about how else we can inspire others, especially when it comes to finding meaningful, subject-specific examples that might help to bridge the gap between an interest in sustainability and taking action. Take a moment to think about where you go to find inspiration or examples of ESD relevant to your subject. Pause the video for a minute or two to consider the question on the screen. The reason we've asked this question is because one of the points of inspiration for the project we're about to discuss is the challenge of finding sustainability examples for distance education settings. Module teams would often ask us for subject-specific examples, and it wasn't easy to find them within the OU or even outside of it. On the slide, we've given some examples of places we've gone to find inspiration and examples of practice. We'll share the links to these sites and any other resources or information in the information that accompanies this video.
So cue the Words of Wisdom project being set up. A pilot Words of Wisdom project was developed throughout 2025 to explore how we can gather and showcase ways that sustainability can be meaningfully embedded across curricula and the wider student learning experience. We wanted to find a way to collate high-quality, short, replicable examples in one place that also incorporated student voices, experiences, and feedback. And the idea was to reduce barriers to engaging with sustainability and understanding how sustainability can connect across a diverse number of subjects in the hope of inspiring colleagues to take action themselves. The pilot was relatively small in scale and was focused on processes and practicalities. We worked to use the data that was already available to us and connected to the 2024 Responsible Futures Audit, where we adapted a small number of entries into short examples. We also trialled an additional small-scale collection of extra examples from colleagues that we knew were working on sustainability projects or had sustainability connections. To ensure the Words of Wisdom supported reflection, embodied sustainability values, and were a consistent quality, we created a set of review criteria. The criteria themes were impact, inclusivity, adaptability, and alignment with sustainability competencies. Each example submission to the compendium was marked as to whether it was fully, partially, or not met by members of the project team. Our most highly weighted criteria was replicability, as we wanted the examples to help colleagues bridge the gap between disciplines and overcome barriers to action or implementation. As a result of the review, we excluded some examples and went back to some submitters to ask for amendments. The focus on replicability was also informed by a conference session we ran at the EAUC Sustainability Conference for Further and Higher Education in June last year. In the session, we gathered participants' experiences and requirements and found that when participants looked for examples, they placed particular weight on replicability and impact evidence. Building and applying these criteria was also an important part of turning the final resource into an open educational resource. Concerns about quality and applicability of OERs can be a barrier to engaging with and adopting them, and so we wanted to make sure that this was considered throughout the project process.
Equally important for the project has been connecting with students so we can capture and share what resonates most to them. Student experience is at the heart of what we do in learning design, and we are fortunate to have some amazing mechanisms to connect with student voices. For example, through the Curriculum Design Student Panel, who we mentioned earlier. Although it wasn't possible on this occasion to work with students throughout all stages of the project, we were still able to have student input during the project's early stages through 2 student volunteers from OpenSU. This allowed us to go some way to representing the views of some students and creating a space for student voices to be amplified about how they want sustainability to feature in their learning journey at the Open University. Because they were volunteers, we gave the students 3 structured and time-bound tasks. The volunteers helped us to check and refine submission processes, including making sure the review criteria were relevant and easy to use. They assessed draft entries and gave us feedback on what stood out for them from the examples we gathered. We provided a certificate of participation which outlined the skills the students had used and developed on the project. They could use these on LinkedIn, for example, and we've also acknowledged the volunteers and their work on the compendium site. A second stage of student involvement was asking a wider group of student volunteers from OpenSU and the Curricular Design Student Panel to read through the example categories and vote on which examples they felt best supported their understanding of sustainability and preparedness for future challenges. We created a visual sticker which has been added to the examples that were most highly voted in each category, which you can see on the slide. We also added student feedback and comments alongside the relevant examples in the compendium. The aim of this is to help inspire and guide colleagues, especially if they are uncertain about what students might think about a certain idea. The example on the slide is a student comment on an example about an Open Learn Sustainability Pedagogies course. The student has provided their opinion on the idea of the course and has given a suggestion on how they'd like to see it integrated into educational contexts.
The final online compendium is hosted on the OU's MOOC platform Open Learn Create, and the compendium is accessible to everyone, including those outside the OU. You can search for inspiration from examples which cover 11 subjects, as well as university and professional service projects, and sit within 5 broad categories which are outlined on the slide. And these are assessment, competencies in the curriculum, staff development, training and resources, subliminal curriculum, and sustainability pedagogies. We grouped examples into themes rather than subjects as we hope to turn focus on sustainability values and goals to help break down subject-based silos. The whole compendium is set up in a way that encourages participants to reflect on their subject and context and consider how they might replicate or adapt examples. The compendium's not just an educational resource though, it also connects to themes of well-being, which is a particular focus and area of concern within the field of sustainability.
One of the challenges of integrating sustainability into education is that it can cause the experience of eco or climate anxiety because of the distressing and overwhelming nature of the subjects, because of concern about the planet, and also because of personal experiences that it causes. There are various definitions of eco-anxiety, and these cover a chronic fear of environmental doom, dread associated with negative environmental information, and heightened psychological distress in response to the climate emergency. The impact of eco-anxiety can mean that some individuals will avoid sustainability or climate-related subjects because it's just too difficult to bear, or maybe they have to take time away from learning about them for their own well-being. Trying to engage with sustainability and climate change without it overwhelming us is a considerable challenge. Current literature suggests that to alleviate this overwhelm, 3 elements need to be present and in balance, and these are emotional engagement, taking action, and self-care. Words of Wisdom most specifically aligns with the taking action and self-care elements of this trilogy. By providing examples focused on action and replicability, we hope that the compendium can help to remove feelings of powerlessness and turn worry into practical steps. The compendium also supports the creation of communities of care, which is defined as a supportive web of relationships. The compendium is created by and is full of like-minded people, and it's evidence that action is being taken, that people care, and that people are willing to help as well. Being part of a group can give a sense of togetherness and belonging, which can help with the emotional engagement element required to help with eco-anxiety. Although we don't yet have tangible evidence that the compendium itself can help to alleviate eco-anxiety, it was created with this hope in mind.
We want to take a moment for us all to reflect on where our confidence levels with sustainability are at, and this activity is part of a larger confidence circles activity which has previously been run internally by the Sustainability Office at the Open University, but the aim is to give you the space to kind of measure your confidence, and by measuring it and quantifying it you're then able to think about how you can change your score. So with that in mind, you can pause the video here for a few minutes whilst reflecting on your responses to the activity, and all you have to do is rate on the scale 1 to 4 how confident you are at taking action in the context of sustainability. Now, with your rating in your mind, take a moment to think about what we've discussed today, or the wider knowledge that you might have to change in order to maintain your confidence score, and think about what it is that you could do to change or maintain that score. Think about the types of information or CPD that you might want to access, which colleagues you might want to have a discussion with about how to take actions forward. Pause the video here and write down some thoughts about what you could do to change or maintain your confidence score.
To wrap up our presentation, we're now going to share what's next for the Words of Wisdom project. So at the beginning of this presentation, we shared 3 principles, and we wanted to return to them as we regularly reconsider and review them, and we've continued to find that they still hold true for us. We feel that Words of Wisdom upholds and embodies all of these principles and has demonstrated to us just how resonant they are in helping us to support staff to connect with sustainability. The project has helped us to feel confident that an action-focused, collaborative and reflective approach to sustainability support can not only be impactful, but it also can be supportive in many other ways.
We have many more plans to maintain and expand the compendium. We shared the compendium with a variety of colleagues within and external to the OU, and are pleased to say that it's been received really well. It's being integrated into the module chair induction processes within STEM at the Open University. We are continuing to connect with Responsible Futures audit processes to gather new examples, as well as exploring routes from other institutions to expand the example bank. To finish, we would like you to take a moment to identify 2 things that you're going to take away from this video. One that you'll do immediately, which could mean directly after watching this or in the next week or so, and another that you would like to have achieved in the next 3 months. Take a moment to pause the video here and reflect and note down what your responses are. Thank you for watching this video. You'll find the links to all of the resources that we've mentioned in the video alongside the video information below.